Good morning, security gang, and welcome back to the CyberHub Podcast. My name is James Azar. I'm the host of the CyberHub Podcast. I'm also a Chief Information Security Officer by trade. Thank you all for tuning in to this morning's show, Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. We've got a packed show for all of y'all today. 600,000 Canada Goose records are being leaked online. Ransomware hitting a hotel in Japan. 500,000 social media accounts hijacked through browser extensions. Traveler data for sale on the dark web, CISA ordering emergency patching of a critical beyond trust flaw, and the timeline will make you sweat this one out. We're going to break that down and a whole lot more on today's show, including Russia losing Starlink on the battlefield, CISA at a 38% in DHS shutdown, and Chrome's first 0 day of the year only took around 48 days to get the year. So, not too shabby. That's all on this morning's show. So join me before we get started here with your favorite morning beverage. Mine is a double espresso. I am a geek. I love espressos. For those who don't know, it's my favorite thing to drink. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. Let me know in the comments what do y'all like to drink. Like, I know some people are tea people. Like, I get it. My wife enjoys tea, but I'm very much so a coffee person. I enjoy an occasional tea. I can't do iced tea though. Iced tea just sounds gross. Tea should be warm. That's just me though. If you like iced tea, good for you. I know a lot of friends. Brian Penny loves green tea. Good for him. I mean, he loves cold tea, iced tea. Give him iced tea any time of day. I love it. All right. Let's get the ball rolling here with Canada Goose investigating the leak of 600,000 customer records. This one coming as we starting off with the folks over up north. Canada Goose are claiming, has attackers claiming to have leaked roughly 600,000 customer records. Those include names, email addresses, phone numbers, and even order details. The data surfaced online after what appeared to be an unauthorized access to internal systems, not really a ransomware encryption type of event, which are more common, right? So right now what we're seeing is data exfiltration, a leak online, attempted extortion, works, doesn't work, and then they just post the data and they let the company kind of have to go through disclosure. This is the classic data exfiltration first model where attackers monetize exposure without necessarily disrupting operations, or on the other side, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. Or there's no operations to disrupt. Meaning specifically, when you attacked Jaguar Land Rover, JLR, right? You shut down their operating plant. That's real disruption, and you attempted to get them to pay you a ransom. But let's say you hit Canada Goose, and you only got maybe their Shopify database. I don't know if they're on Shopify. So my friends at Shopify, I'm sorry. That's not what I don't mean you specifically. And so that's all the data you got. You can't disrupt it. You can't really put ransomware on there. You can exfiltrate your data and hope to make some money out of it. That's possibility number 2 and becoming more common. Now, a premium retail brand like Canada Goose, this is creating some reputational damage, and it's opening the door to phishing campaigns that targets loyal customers, with the risk being downstream fraud and even targeted phishing, leveraging real deal history. If I'm on the Canada Goose side, I'd be implementing credential monitoring and forced password resets for exposed user accounts. I'd also be finding another way to communicate with my customers beyond email, and the data compromised as well there. So if you enjoy Japan as much, like I love Japan. Well, the Washington Hotel in Japan is disclosing a ransomware infection at its hotels. The Washington Hotel location in Japan is disclosing ransomware infection that's affecting its internal systems. The incident reportedly impacted bookings and even operational infrastructure at the hotel, potentially exposing guest data prior to the encryption. Hospitality still remains vulnerable because of the distributed systems, legacy property management platforms, and even limited segmentation between guest services and administrative networks. The real issue here isn't just encryption, it's really dwell time and data staging before detonation, with the risk being operational paralysis during peak travel seasons and identity exposure of international travelers. And again, if you're caught in these types of situations, you want to deploy immutable offline backups with tested restoration timelines, which all go a very long way to recovering. Now, you've all heard of Facebook, you've all heard of Instagram and X and so many others, but have you heard of VKontakte? Because I have. Have you? It's Russia's version of Facebook. It's what it is. Well, apparently 500,000 of those accounts were hijacked via malicious Chrome extensions, according to Cybersecurity. 500,000 of these users were hijacked after users installed a malicious Chrome extension that stole session cookies and even authentication tokens. This is session hijacking at scale. MFA doesn't help when attackers directly steal authenticated browser sessions. And that's the reminder that browser level compromise is now the most efficient credential bypass method in the wild. So you're risking session token theft, bypassing MFA controls, and then you need to be able to mitigate this threat and enforce strict browser extension whitelisting policies in enterprise environments. Can't say it more than that. Oh, Eurorail. They operate around 250,000 kilometers of European rail. Their data is now up for sale on the dark web, and they're confirming that the stolen traveler data is being offered for sale online. The exposed data sets reportedly includes names, contact details, and booking information. Travel data does have strategic value, as attackers can craft hyper-personalized phishing tied to itineraries, impersonate travel agencies, or even exploit timing gaps when travelers are abroad, with the risk here being itinerary-based social engineering and fraud targeting international travelers. If you're Eurorail, you should introduce behavioral anomaly detection within booking systems to flag any sort of unusual data exports. And if you traveled there and used it and you're on their system, you should be mindful of any emails you get and pay close attention to it. Starlink restrictions are affecting Russian forces, and this one is moving geopolitics. Restrictions on Starlink satellite services are reportedly affecting Russian military operations. Satellite internet has become a critical battlefield infrastructure in now the 4-year war between Russia and Ukraine that's taken the lives of millions and millions of young soldiers on both sides, as well as a ton of innocent civilians on the Ukrainian side. This story is highlighting how privately operated communication platforms are now directly influencing geopolitical conflicts. It's a reminder that cyber connectivity and kinetic operations are tightly intertwined. You can't have one without the other. And this brings up the risk of over-reliance on single vendor communication infrastructure during geopolitical volatility, with the mitigation being organizations with critical connectivity needs should be building a multi-provider failover communication strategy and not just rely on one. And that's significant here. And again, this is impacting the battlefield directly. There have been fewer kamikaze drones. After the disconnection, the enemy experienced certain problems with communication and coordinating infantry assaults. And Russian military bloggers are also reported losing access to Starlink connections, warning the outage could weaken Moscow's drone warfare capabilities. Funny how, in order to disable drones, all you have to do is get rid of satellite connectivity there. We move from there to the first 0-day for Chrome this year. This one coming in hot, folks, so pay close attention. Google patching the first actively exploited Chrome 0-day of the year. The flaw was already being used in targeted attacks before disclosure. The browser 0-days remain a top-tier initial access vector because they do bypass network perimeter defenses and require minimal user interaction altogether. This is CVE 2026-2441. And so keep close attention on, CVE 2026-24411. The risk here being this is a silent endpoint compromise through malicious websites. To mitigate this one, enforce rapid patch deployment windows under 48 hours for browser updates because it is being actively exploited. Speaking of actively exploited flaws, CISA is ordering federal agencies to patch their Beyond Trust environment within 3 days. Not a month, not 2 weeks, 3 days. CISA did issue this emergency directive requiring federal agencies to patch a critical Beyond Trust vulnerability within 3 days. That's a significant signal. When CISA is setting a 72-hour deadline, it means active exploitation is credible. Beyond Trust products often sit in privileged access pathways, which makes exploitation particularly dangerous here. with the risk being that privilege escalation via remote support and identity infrastructure leads to direct access to your prod environment and potential catastrophic results as of there. Immediately audit and restrict exposed remote support interfaces from public access if you're a Beyond Trust customer. This is CVE 2026-1731. Going back to OpenClaw and Infostealers are targeting AI agents integrations. Researchers are now uncovering an Infostealer campaign targeting OpenClaw AI agent environments, stealing API keys and token embedded in agent workflows. As AI agents integrate into operational pipelines, they're becoming privileged automation bridges, and attackers are now adapting accordingly. Again, every time we move the goalpost, they catch up. We never move the goalpost enough to keep them back. We move the goalpost just enough to give ourselves just a little bit more. They catch up quickly. They understand it. The threat actors are smart. There's hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of them out there doing this, especially in nation-state operations. The risk here being an unauthorized lateral movement through compromised AI services, AI service credentials, with the mitigation is store AI service credentials in centralized secret management platforms with rotation policies. That goes a long way there. So for those who don't know, DHS is on a shutdown. Why is it on a shutdown? Well, I didn't want to give my personal opinion, so I turned to Claude and I said, "Hey, Claude, this story, I don't want to come off as, political in this one. So give me the basic of why CISA will remain operational as of Saturday at 38%, and yet what they're protesting is fully funded." And they fully funded it last year. So this shutdown that's impacting CISA, who still doesn't have a confirmed director, because the same clowns that are doing this are holding up the nomination. Yes, and I call them all clowns because that's exactly what they are. So CISA is operating at roughly 38% of its 2,341 staff designated as accepted. This is following the Valentine's Day midnight shutdown. According to Acting Director Madhu Guthamakala, telling Congress last week, when the government shuts down, our adversaries do not. Shutdown is driven by a political standoff over immigration enforcement policy, specifically ICE operations. Now, here's the kicker to this one. ICE and CBP are already funded through the One Big Beautiful Bill. They're unaffected by this one. CISA, on the other hand, is not. So, one, they don't have a confirmed director. We're now almost close to 400 days. And now they're shutting it down and cutting their funding. I mean, just brilliant. Brilliant. These are the same people, by the way, who grandstand on both sides. All right, both sides. No side's better than the other on this one. They grandstand and say, we care about our national security. And yet here they are grandstanding at the expense of the Department of Homeland Security and CISA. Well done, folks. If I could give you a hand, I would. Just don't really feel like you deserve a clap here at all. I just, you know what? Here's a clap. Congratulations. You've continued to paralyze the one agency that you say you care so much about. All right. That's it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, live with all the latest and greatest. Until then, go check out cyberhubpodcast.com. Our article over the weekend, From Cost Center to Capital Strategies, how CISOs can change the budget conversation, why it's long overdue. Go check that out there. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. The feedback has been phenomenal. So that's available for our subscribers at cyberhubpodcast.com. A written version of this podcast will be available there and in your inbox when you go sign up, giving you the written layout of this one with some action items. So if you listen and you go, what did he say about this? No need to worry. Just go to cyberhubpodcast.com, stick your email right there. We'll get it in your inbox shortly after the show airs. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, y'all, stay cyber.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.